So let's talk about the nervous system for a minute because I've been having a few people ask me questions about nervous system regulation, and I just want to tell a few stories. I'm gonna tell a couple, so there's probably gonna be a couple of parts to this. So, first and foremost, I was not, even when I started on my meditation journey, yoga journey, all those things, I was a teenager. I didn't know anything about the nervous system in that way. I knew sayings like my mama saying, "You getting on my nerves, you working my nerves," that kind of thing. That's how my mind associated with the nervous system was, you getting on my nerves. So it wasn't until I was 911 dispatching that I had more awareness around my own nervous system and how I was responding to certain stimuli and certain things and experiences. So during this time when I was 911 dispatching, I was also still teaching yoga. I was still taking like one-on-one clients and doing sound baths, but I was doing it part-time, and I was doing it really at my own leisure. And I had my own practice that I was doing for myself, for my own self-care, right? And so I was doing all the things. I was eating healthy, exercising. I felt at the time that I was very self-aware and very in tune with what it was that I required in order to take care of myself, in order to do my job. However, this is why this is an amazing topic. Even with me doing all the things that was good for my system, my mind, body, and soul was still experiencing high levels of stress because of the work that I did. I was always taking in some type of outside stimuli that did have a negative effect on my system. I was experiencing, the fight or flight on a day-to-day basis from an office desk. And I was very much in denial at first because I was such a healthy person, because I was like, I journal, I see a hypnotherapist because I was studying at a clinic at the time. And, I was a little bit conceited, your girl. And so because your girl was a little bit in denial, I think I did the job for 2 years before I was really in tune with my nervous system and where I was at, getting off the call and ignoring that I was shaking, and that's one of the things that I pay attention to so much now, how my body responds to things. So I always listen to my body, because in that moment years ago, I wasn't listening to it at first because I was just doing my job, right? However, when I started to, and this is when I started to become aware of the nervous system and how I would take things in and how my body would process it, how my mind would process it. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm a really healthy person, but my body is not transmuting the stress right. So where I worked, they were very like pro-employee. They wanted to make sure that, we were exercising, that we were talking to therapists, that, we were getting the assistance that we needed or required at the time. However, for me, it's like I understood that it's a job that someone, it's a job for someone. It's a job requirement for our society. But doing it long term for me had negative effects. And that's when I started to study the nervous system and study how my body, like literally how my physical body would react to certain things. And it's another reason why I don't just think that a person, if you're just doing this, then you should be good.